I spent years believing that sleep was a battle to be won, a restless mind in a tired body fighting for a peace that would not come. But the answer wasn't in fighting, it was in surrender. Most people ignore this because the solution feels too simple to be true. But 99% miss the final part of this practice, and without it, you are only treating a symptom, ensuring your restless nights will always return. Restless mind, we often believe that the inability to find rest is a failure of the body. We think the body is broken, that it refuses to cooperate with our desire for sleep. Yet if we were to sit in stillness for just a moment and truly observe, we would find that the body is often exhausted. It is ready. It is the mind that is not. The mind is a turbulent lake, its surface agitated by the winds of the day that has passed and the storms of the day that is yet to come. Every worry, every conversation, every image we consumed, every task left undone, they are like stones cast into this lake, and the ripples continue long after the stone has sunk. We lie in the dark and we feel these ripples. We call it insomnia, but it is really just the echo of a mind that has not been given the space to become still. This restlessness is a modern condition, amplified by the constant flow of information and stimulation. Our minds are trained for activity, for problem solving, for engagement. From the moment we wake to the glow of a screen, to the moment we try to sleep, we are feeding the mind, keeping it active, keeping it vigilant. It is like training a guard dog to be on high alert for 24 hours a day and then suddenly wondering why it will not lie down peacefully at your feet the moment you command it. The mind does not know how to switch off because we have not practiced the art of stillness. We have practiced the art of distraction, the art of doing, but not the art of being. And so, when the external world goes quiet, the internal world screams with the momentum of the entire day. It replays conversations, it formulates arguments, it designs futures, and it regrets pasts. It does everything except be present in the simple, quiet reality of the room. The mistake we make is trying to fight this restlessness with more mental activity. We try to think our way to sleep. We might try counting or visualization techniques that are themselves complex, or we might become frustrated, which is another form of intense mental energy. This is like trying to calm a stormy lake by splashing your hands in the water. You only create more turbulence. The frustration builds a tension in the body, the jaw clenches, the shoulders tighten, the breath becomes shallow. Now the body is no longer ready for rest. It has been recruited by the mind into a state of conflict. The mind and body become locked in a feedback loop of anxiety and tension. The mind worries about not sleeping, the body tenses in response, and the physical tension confirms to the mind that something is wrong, that rest is impossible. This cycle can feel unbreakable. The path to stillness does not begin with fighting the mind. It begins with acknowledging its state without judgment. To see the thoughts as clouds passing in the sky. You are not the clouds, you are the sky. You are the awareness that observes them. This is a subtle but profound shift in perspective. Instead of being carried away by every thought, you create a small space of observation. You recognize the mind's habit of churning, of seeking, of worrying. You see it not as your enemy, but as a part of you that is dysregulated, that is simply doing what it has been trained to do. The first step in calming the turbulent waters is not to fight the waves, but to stop throwing stones into the lake. It is to introduce a new practice, one that does not engage the mind in its usual patterns, but instead guides it gently toward a state of quietude, using a language the entire being understands, the language of the body. Body's wisdom. For so long, we have been disconnected from the wisdom of our own bodies. We treat the body as a vehicle to carry the mind around, a machine that we expect to perform on command. We fuel it without thought, push it past its limits, and ignore its subtle signals until they become screams of pain or exhaustion. Yet, the body possesses an ancient, profound intelligence. It knows what it needs. It understands the rhythms of nature, the cycles of activity and rest, of nourishment and cleansing. The problem is not that the body is unwise, it is that we have become deaf to its language. We have forgotten how to listen. The constant noise of the external world and the internal chatter of the mind have drowned out its quiet, persistent voice. This wisdom communicates itself not through complex thoughts, but through feelings, through sensations, a feeling of lightness or heaviness, a sense of warmth or cold, a feeling of calm or agitation. These are not random occurrences, they are data. They are messages from your physical self about its state of being. When you eat a certain food, your body sends you a report. When you engage in a certain activity, it gives you feedback. The fatigue you feel is not a weakness, it is a clear signal to rest. The tension in your neck is not a nuisance, it is a message that you are carrying a burden, perhaps an emotional one. Insomnia itself is one of the loudest messages the body can send, a sign that the harmony between mind and body, between our inner world and our daily practices, has been profoundly disturbed. To reconnect with this wisdom requires a conscious shift in awareness. It means moving your attention away from the endless narrative of the mind and bringing it down into the physical self. You can do this right now. Feel the weight of your body, the points of contact with the surface you are on. Feel the air as it enters your nostrils, cool and fresh, and as it leaves, warm and used. Notice the subtle hum of energy in your hands. This is the beginning of listening. It is an act of presence, of inhabiting your own form. When you begin to do this, you create a space for the body's wisdom to be heard. You are no longer just a mind analyzing a problem. You are a complete being, experiencing its own reality. This is where the idea of food as a cure for insomnia begins to make sense, but not in the way modern wellness culture often presents it, as a magic pill, a supplement, a biohack. It is not about a specific chemical compound that forces the brain to shut down. It is about using food as a tool for communication. It is about providing the body with a form of nourishment that sends a message of safety, of calm, of gentle care. It is an act that tells your entire system, the day is over, the work is done, it is now time for stillness, it is now time for repair. By choosing the right kind of nourishment, prepared and consumed in the right way, you are not just feeding the stomach, you are speaking to the nervous system, to the energy flow of the body, and you are inviting the mind to follow the body's lead into a state of profound and restorative peace. Simple nourishment. The food that became the anchor for my own journey back to restful sleep was not a rare herb or an expensive supplement. It was something profoundly simple, humble, and ancient. It was a small bowl of warm, easily digestible nourishment. For me, this often takes the form of a very simple rice porridge or congee. But the specific recipe is not the secret. The secret lies in the principles behind it. The food must be warm, it must be simple, and it must be light. These three qualities are a direct communication to the body, a signal that it does not need to gear up for a difficult task. It can relax, it can receive, it can begin the process of winding down. Warmth is perhaps the most crucial element. In the evening, as the sun sets, the energy of the world turns inward and downward. Our own bodies are meant to follow this natural rhythm. Cold foods and drinks, especially in the evening, are a shock to the system. They force the body to expend a great deal of its own precious energy just to warm the food up to body temperature before digestion can even begin. This is an activating, stimulating process. It is like asking your body to start a fire at the very moment you are trying to cool the embers for the night. A warm meal, on the other hand, is received with ease. It is soothing. It feels like an embrace from the inside. It gently relaxes the muscles of the stomach and the digestive tract, sending a wave of calm throughout the entire nervous system. It tells the body, all is well, you are safe, you can let go. Simplicity is the next principle. A complex meal with many rich ingredients, heavy spices, fats, and proteins presents the digestive system with a significant challenge. It is a complex problem to solve. The body must produce a wide array of enzymes, and the digestive process becomes a long, laborious effort that can last for hours. This is work, And when the body is working hard on digestion, it cannot fully commit to the deep restorative work of sleep. The mind too can be agitated by this internal activity. A simple food, like a thin porridge of rice or oats, or perhaps a simple vegetable broth, requires very little effort to break down. The nutrients are readily available, the body can assimilate it with minimal fuss, freeing up its energy for the crucial processes of cellular repair, detoxification, and memory consolidation that occur during deep sleep. Finally, the food must be light. This refers not just to the ingredients but to the quantity. We are not eating a meal to power us through an afternoon of hard labor. We are eating a small amount to pacify the feeling of an empty stomach, which can itself be a source of wakefulness for some. It is a gesture of nourishment, not a feast. Eating a large meal of any kind before bed places a heavy physical load on the body. It directs blood flow to the digestive system, away from the brain and muscles. It can lead to discomfort, acid reflux, and a feeling of heaviness that is the very opposite of the lightness required for the spirit to feel at rest. A small, warm, simple bowl is an act of kindness to your body. It is an offering that says, I honor your need for rest. I will not burden you tonight. I will give you just what you need to feel settled and secure. This simple act of nourishment is the first physical step in creating the conditions for peace. Evening ritual. The power of this practice is not contained solely within the food itself. Its true potential is unlocked when the preparation and consumption of the food become a deliberate ritual, a clear boundary that marks the end of the day's activity and the beginning of the night's stillness. This is not about just quickly heating something in a microwave while scrolling on a phone. That would be to miss the entire point. The ritual is the practice. It is the bridge that guides you from the chaotic energy of the day to the calm sanctuary of the night. It is a moving meditation, an act of presence that signals to every level of your being that a transition is occurring. The ritual begins with the conscious decision to disengage. An hour or two before you intend to sleep, you make a choice. The screens are turned off, the work is put away, the stimulating conversations are concluded. You enter the kitchen not as a chore, but as a space for quiet practice. The very act of washing the rice, of chopping a small amount of ginger, of measuring the water, each step is done with awareness. You feel the texture of the grains, you smell the fragrance of the ingredients, you hear the gentle sound of the water. You are not rushing. You are simply being with the task at hand. This focused, simple activity has a profound effect on the mind. It pulls the mind out of its loops of worry and planning and anchors it in the present sensory moment. The monkey mind, which loves to swing from branch to branch, is given a single, simple branch to hold on to. As the food gently simmers on the stove, you do not use that time to find another distraction. You might sit quietly, listening to the soft bubbling sound. You might practice some gentle stretches, releasing the physical tension that has accumulated in your shoulders, neck, and back. You breathe. You consciously slow your breath, making the exhale slightly longer than the inhale. This is a direct signal to your autonomic nervous system to shift from the fight or flight sympathetic state to the rest and digest parasympathetic state. You are actively creating the physiological conditions for sleep. The gentle aroma filling the kitchen becomes part of the ritual, a scent that your mind and body will begin to associate with calm and the coming of rest. When the food is ready, you serve it in a bowl that you enjoy. You sit down at the table without any screens or books. It is just you and this offering of nourishment. You eat slowly, you chew thoroughly, you savor the warmth and the simple taste. You feel it entering your body, a wave of gentle comfort. This is an act of profound self-respect and self-care. In a world that constantly demands you to be more, to do more, to go faster, this ritual is a radical act of slowing down, of honoring your own need for peace. It is a clear and unambiguous statement to yourself that your well-being is a priority. This ritual, practiced consistently, becomes a powerful psychological trigger. Your body and mind learn the sequence. When this ritual begins, stillness follows. it becomes a reliable pathway out of the turbulence and into the calm harbor of deep restorative sleep, digestive stillness. To truly understand why this practice is so effective, we must look deeper into the body's subtle energetic systems. Beyond the mechanical process of digestion, there is an underlying flow of vital energy. In many traditions, this energy is the very foundation of life and health. When this energy is flowing smoothly and in harmony, we feel vibrant, clear, and balanced. When it is obstructed, stagnant, or depleted, we experience disease, fatigue, and mental fog. The process of digestion, especially the digestion of heavy, complex, or cold foods, requires an immense amount of this vital energy. The body must marshal its resources and direct them to the stomach and intestines, creating a powerful hub of activity in the center of the body. Think of your body's energy as a finite resource for the night. This energy is meant for the deep, subtle, and essential work of healing and restoration that happens during sleep. It is during these hours that your brain cleanses itself of metabolic byproducts, your tissues repair themselves, your hormonal systems regulate, and your memories are consolidated. This is quiet, internal work that requires a state of profound stillness. If you eat a large, heavy meal close to bedtime, you are essentially creating a second demanding job for your body to do. A significant portion of your vital energy is diverted to the forceful, active work of digestion. The quiet, healing work is put on the back burner or is performed with insufficient resources. This diversion of energy creates a state of internal conflict. Your mind may be tired and seeking sleep, but your digestive system is in high gear. This internal activity can manifest as physical restlessness, a feeling of being warm or agitated, and can even disrupt the natural drop in core body temperature that facilitates sleep. The mind, being intricately connected to the body, senses this internal commotion. It is difficult for the mind to find stillness when the body is in a state of turmoil. This is why you might fall asleep out of sheer exhaustion, but then wake up a few hours later, feeling strangely alert and unable to return to sleep. This often coincides with the peak of the digestive effort. The body is working so hard that it pulls the mind right out of its restful state. A small, warm, simple meal does the opposite. It requires a minimal investment of vital energy. It is a gentle offering that pacifies the digestive system rather than activating it. The warmth soothes, the simplicity allows for easy assimilation, and the lightness prevents any sense of burden. By consuming such a meal, you are preserving your vital energy for its intended nocturnal purpose, healing and regeneration. You are creating a state of digestive stillness. This internal quietude is the foundation upon which mental quietude can be built. When the body is not in a state of struggle, when its systems are calm and its energy is allowed to flow toward restorative processes, the mind finds it much easier to let go. It can surrender to the body's peaceful state, allowing you to drift into a sleep that is not just long, but deep and truly rejuvenating. Morning clarity. The ultimate proof of a night well rested is not found in the darkness, but in the light of the following morning. The quality of your sleep directly translates into the quality of your waking state. Many of us have become accustomed to waking up as a struggle. The alarm is an enemy. We feel groggy, heavy, and mentally clouded. We need stimulants like caffeine just to feel functional, to force our minds and bodies into a state of alertness. This feeling is so common that we have accepted it as normal, but it is not. It is a direct symptom of a night spent in restless, shallow, or unrestorative sleep. It is the hangover from a night of internal conflict, whether that conflict was a racing mind or a laboring digestive system. When you adopt the practice of an evening ritual centered around simple, warm nourishment, you are fundamentally changing the script for your night. You are no longer sending your body into a battle with a heavy meal or your mind into a war with its own thoughts. You are creating a cascade of calm that begins in the evening and flows uninterrupted through the night. Because the body's energy was not squandered on a difficult digestive task, it was free to perform its deep healing work. Your brain was cleansed, your muscles were repaired, and your nervous system was recalibrated. You have not just slept, you have restored yourself on a cellular level.